Taking risks is one of the most important things you can do in life towards shaping your character and helping you find that confidence that you truly desire. And when I say risks, I'm not talking about the small risks, like when you dip your foot into the pool to check if it's cold, or you eat a small amount of a certain food because you're not sure whether or not it'll taste good. When I say take risks, I mean risks that other people would call you crazy for, that they never expect you to actually do, that they tell you you're out of your mind for thinking that it even actually work, and that when you actually think of that risk itself, it fills you with this strong dread in your stomach where you feel like you need to turn back and completely forget about whatever it is you're trying to do. But it's in those crazy risks where you feel as if you might not succeed, where you find the most success that will help you build your character and help you find that confidence. So I have two semi-big experiences with big risks. So back in October of this year, my senior year, I was struggling in myself. I couldn't really find confidence for myself, and I wasn't really I didn't really feel as if I had a lot going for me. I also felt like when it came to women, if I ever had the opportunity to get to know someone, like them, and talk to them, I'd feel as if the opportunity was given to me, and I didn't make the opportunity for myself. And it was like I was lucky to get to talk to them. And I didn't really feel like I had the strength to put forward what was needed to develop a connection with these people. So I'd almost always end up self-sabotaging myself. And it really sucked because I wanted a connection with these people I got to know. But the end result would always just be, I think this situation is too good for me. I don't deserve it. And so what would end up happening is it just go nowhere. So come October, between October and December, I kind of realized that if I were to really make the most of not only just women, but also connections I had with other people, I would need to develop confidence for myself. Like, I would need to develop my own person, my own self that I could stand on when I felt like things weren't looking good or I didn't feel too great about myself. The version of myself where it felt like no matter what came at me, I could still stand up against it and not be so overwhelmed by it. And the plan I created for myself was that if I were to do so, I wanted to look better and develop my fashion sense. It was specifically my fashion sense because I felt like one thing about me is that I have very unorthodox ideas. I think of a lot of things that people typically would not think of. And so I felt like the best way to express myself without having to say it to people just by talking to them would be having a solid fashion sense, because it's something that you see on me before you even get to talk to me, and you might notice it and think, oh, he looks cool in this, or whatever he's wearing is nice. So basically, I just wanted to have something that I felt like it was self-explanatory, and if you saw it, you might be able to deduce a good opinion about me. And so what I did is I made this step-by-step plan, not particularly detailing how I would get to each step or how I would do each thing, but basically saying that I need to get from here to here to here to here to the final step, no matter what, however it took. I just needed to get to each step. And those steps for me were simply buying pieces of clothing and jewelry, accessories. It was as simple as that. It started with earrings, and there were bracelets, and then it went so-and-so, until the final step of it was getting a tattoo. Now, at the time, and I still am that age, I was 18 years old. And I'm also a Nigerian kid. And if you've never become accustomed with immigrant parents and their experiences, you need to understand that most immigrant parents nowadays, they are not for anything that goes against the traditional way. Especially in Nigeria, it's just very difficult to go against the grain and try and do what is commonplace here in America. I remember sophomore year of high school, when I tried to get my ears pierced, I went back and forth with my mom over trying to get my ears pierced. And when I tried to do something with my hair, switch it up from what I regularly had, it took me literal months to convince her to let me do something with my hair. But of course, I still love my mom all the same. It's just the way we were raised is different. But besides that, a tattoo is probably one of the craziest and probably the worst thing that you could get as an immigrant child, especially a Nigerian, because first of all, as everyone knows, a tattoo is a permanent thing on your body. You can get it removed, but obviously it's going to cost a lot of money. It's not too pretty, and your parents are just going to tell you don't even bother getting a tattoo in the first place. And second of all, you can get crazy things tattooed on you, especially that, like, when you're a kid or you're younger age, you might get something that you get on you that you think at the time is cool, but then 20 years, 30 years later, you look at that and you're like, whoa, what was I thinking? And then you have to pay a crap ton of money to get it removed off you, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. But especially with parents, immigrant parents, they're not going to look at it as something that they're too keen on, especially when you're a young age. But I told myself when I wrote this notes list that no matter what, the end goal was going to be getting a tattoo. And at the time, I already knew it was something that probably wasn't going to go too well, or something that I was still kind of nervous about. But it was something that I knew was the final step, and I would deal with it when I got there. So over the course of long, arduous months, I ended up making my way down my list. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult. But again, I committed to it. I tried to work hard on it, and I made it to that final step. And the final step for me was getting that tattoo. And when it finally came time to actually decide on getting it, it was not easy at all. It was very difficult because obviously it was something of my own volition. I had to get the money for myself to pay for it, and also I just knew it was something that my mom was not going to be happy with. And it got to the point where I started to question, is it even worth it? Like, why even get a tattoo? It's really just some ink on your body that you can't remove. Does it really mean much in the face of having to deal with angry parents or disappointed parents or disappointed people around you who wish you would have done otherwise? And for a long amount of time until that day, I was very nervous, and I started second guessing myself a lot, and I started to lose belief in whether or not I should actually go through with it. And it sounds crazy. Well, yeah, it might sound a little crazy that there was this much deliberation over a piece of body art. I mean, obviously, it's not something that my parents would have wanted, but it's also like, at the end of the day, it's just a piece of art, so why is it so important? But honestly, the reason why I wanted to get it was because for a large part of my life, I hadn't felt very confident in myself. And it may sound like getting all these things and finishing off with a tattoo might have seemed materialistic, but it wasn't really about the items. If I lost the items today and I didn't have all those things, if I didn't have my tattoo, that would suck, of course. But the fact that I went through with this entire journey, I committed to it, I spent time and effort, genuine effort, I tried really hard, and I made it to the end of the list and completed it, which showed that I had the strength to commit towards things. I had the strength to say that I was going to do something, put my mind to it, and get it done. And so even if I lost all of those things today, I happen to no longer have them, I would still be left with the idea that no matter what I did, I could still make it to the end goal and do what I actually put my mind to. And for a large part of my life, that was something I struggled with. It translated to my connections with women, my connections with friends, school, so many other things where it just felt as if I tried at it, I just couldn't get it to work. And so with this entire thing, even though a tattoo on paper might not seem that important, the idea of actually making it through and doing something that was scary to me, something that I didn't think everyone else was going to approve of, and doing it nonetheless, was something that meant so much to me. And so, although I struggled a lot with finding the resolve to actually go through with it, all those things I just mentioned of how important it was to me to actually get it done and show myself that I could do whatever I put my mind to, regardless of how daunting it was, led me to decide to get that tattoo. And I obviously probably can't show it here, but the tattoo is simply just a rose with rose petals floating up to my shoulder. And what it signifies is the figurative death or loss of the way of thinking that led me through life the majority of my younger years, which was that to just go with the flow, do the bare minimum, and be shy in a sense. Don't do too much so that others don't bite back against you, if that makes sense. It represents the death of that ideology, and instead of it, a replacement of that. Do whatever I can to be the best version of myself. Always commit to working hard. And no matter how out of reach, out of bounds, how far beyond something seems for me, to do it no matter what. Because as long as I'm here, I'm capable of doing whatever it is I tell myself that I can do. And I ended up getting it. Like I said, don't want to go into all the details, but my mom ended up being very supportive when I explained the meaning behind it. It took a little bit, but she was able to listen and hear me out, and that meant a lot to me because it showed that despite all the fears, all the nervousness I had towards it, because of my genuine effort to succeed, in the end it paid off, and I had some of the biggest relief I had ever had in my life. And from then on, I've completely believed that as long as something that I want is something that I believe I can do, regardless of how crazy it seems, give me enough time and I will get it done. And that has helped my character tremendously, and it has developed my confidence greatly. So today I quit my job. I didn't tell anyone I was going to. I struggled with deciding right away whether or not I should. But I decided that if I didn't quit my job, if I didn't go all in on this dream that I had, I wouldn't get the payoff that I wanted. And I'm not telling you watching this to just get up and quit your job or quit whatever it is you've been committing to for a long time, because I was at my job for about a year. I made a lot of amazing relationships. I met a lot of great people. I learned a lot about myself. But if you ever get that gut feeling where you feel as if there's something in your life that you're not entirely sure about, but you know if you took a chance on, you might end up discovering a happiness that you currently don't have, a happiness that you've wanted for so long, something that you think about every single day to the point where it's almost like an addiction, it will not leave your mind. And the obstacle towards getting that happiness is taking some crazy risk that doesn't seem plausible, seems like it makes no sense. If you told anyone else, they would probably think you're crazy in the head. And to you yourself, you struggle to rationalize why you should do it. I tell you that despite all of those things, take the risk. Take the risk always, because life isn't about making the safe choices. Life isn't about dipping your foot in the pool to check if the water is cold. Life is about jumping in that pool head first and finding out whether or not that water is cold or warm. It's not about trying that small amount of food because you're not sure if it'll taste good. It's about taking the entire piece of food and shoving the entire thing into your mouth and just chewing it, seeing if it's actually good or not. Because it is only in those moments where you feel as if you have so much to lose and you're sacrificing so much of yourself where your passion for life truly burns bright. You will learn what it means to live when you risk everything for something. And from a logistical standpoint, it seems so hard to have faith in something that you have no proof that it might actually work. But the mind of a human being is truly insane. It is beautiful, and it is amazing. And there is so much that can be done by just simply believing in yourself. So any crazy idea that you think you may have, ideas that just won't leave your brain, that just seem to be there every day, every waking moment of your life, take a chance on it. Because not only will you find the self-fulfillment that you've been desperately looking for so long, But the world might find another amazing person with another amazing idea that we may not have seen otherwise if you did not decide to take that risk. Always take the risk. Thank you.